All right, DA, thank you very much. And that case will hang over this team in the short term, a civil case against Rose in which he and a couple of associates are accused of rape. And as we learned today, there was a report out that the LAPD has confirmed it is pursuing at least a criminal investigation. Again, no charges filed against Derrick Rose. On the floor, Rose's presence certainly changes the complexion of this Knicks team, along with his old Bulls teammate, Joakim Noah. Courtney Lee new to that lineup as well. And a lot of folks are thinking this is a playoff team, at least in the lower half of the draw. How good do you see them, Smitty?
Well, I think they have a chance, like you said, looking at the Eastern Conference. I think the Eastern Conference has gotten better as a whole. But I do think the additions with the Knicks and the makeup of this team, I think they have a chance to make the playoffs. And obviously, we got to see them on the floor. But the makeup of their team is, I think they'll be able to defend much better. And then I think having a penetrator and another guy that can take some pressure off Carmelo Anthony, it won't be easy to load up on him. And then you have some guys with some winning mentalities in Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah coming over. So I think this team has definitely drastically improved. It comes down to me, that guy, Porzingis, not putting all the pressure on him because it's going to be on Carmelo Anthony, Derrick Rose, and Joakim Noah. But where does he take the next step? That rookie year to your second year is huge for an individual, but I think it's going to be even more of a leap for the Knicks if he can take the next step.
What do you think, Sam? What are the strengths and weaknesses of this Knicks team as the roster has shaken out?
I think for the Knicks, it's just going to be about health. I mean, you look at that lineup with Joakim Noah and Courtney Lee, you got two defenders right there. But those guys can also, Courtney Lee can put the ball in the basket. You look at Carmelo, it frees him up now to slide him back to that small forward position to where he's dominant. When he's at that power forward position, you got to rebound more. You got to do the grunt work and grind work. Now back at the small forward position, if Carmelo Anthony gets in the shape that he has to be in to chase those small forwards around, who's going to guard him? Because he can go inside, outside, but Derrick Rose is the key. And if you look at this Knicks team, if Derrick Rose stays healthy, and like he said, get to the basket, keep attacking, it opens up everything for everyone else. And Porzingis, as you said, Smitty, I think he's going to have a big year. He's played unbelievable with the lack of talent that they've had around him. And you notice the more talent you have around you, the easier the game becomes because now you can't load up on guys. So if the Knicks stay healthy, they got the right coach in Jeff Hornacek who's going to let those guys be themselves. But right now, Carmelo Anthony with LeBron and all his friends winning championships and going to the finals. He hadn't been to the playoffs, since 2012? It's all on him, and I think he's going to rise to the occasion if they stay healthy.
How surprised were you by the news Derrick Rose revealed in that interview? He hasn't had a one-on-one conversation with Phil Jackson since he was brought into the Knicks.
I thought that was a nice gem that DA got out of Derrick Rose there. Kind of find that fascinating, Matt, that Phil Jackson had not talking or had a chance to speak with Derrick Rose. The one thing I will say about Jeff Hornacek is he will run the triangle, Matt. It's TRY angle with this team because that's what they're going to have to do on the defensive end of the floor. Sam is right. This is all about health for this team. Noah, Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago, but has been a shell of himself in terms of his lateral quickness, his movement around the rim. If he doesn't have that mobility, that's not helping them out. And Derrick Rose last year really had 2 seasons, Matt. Before the All-Star break, he shot 40%, was woeful on the plus-minus side of things for the Chicago Bulls, was trying to find himself, and it affected everybody else on the team. In the second half of the year, gained a lot of confidence, shot 46%. And you're talking about a vastly different player than what New York had in Jose Calderon, a guy who settled for outside shots and setting his teammates up in three-pointers. Derrick Rose wants to get into the teeth of the defense. He wants to score and get into the middle of the lane. I think it's just fascinating with Jeff Hornacek having success as a three-point shooting coach, Smitty, spreading out the offense and kind of opening things up, that this team is anything but a shooting team. I mean, this is a attack team, get it down in the middle of the paint, down your throat with the driving. And it'll be fascinating to see how quickly they come together. I mean, these guys don't have a solid, other than Melo being their guy, there's a lot of question marks as guys trying to find themselves.
Sure.
How do you find yourselves and a team concept at the same time? Interesting to start the year in New York.
And Rose, who's the polar opposite of Jose Calderon, and really the personification of the abandonment of the triangle in New York right now, because they're obviously not going to play that way. He's trying to find his old self
Yeah.
Something closer to the MVP version, which was 5 years ago.
Two quick things, Matt, just in terms of their depth. I thought they did a nice job in signing Lance Thomas, who last year had a really good year shooting the basketball, shot 40% last year from three, and was pretty consistent in his effort. And then on the back end, bringing in Brandon Jennings, still recovering from the Achilles. If Derrick Rose is out for a certain bit of time or is not playing up to par, Brandon Jennings stepping in New York at the point guard position, potentially maybe the two of those guys playing together. Those are two quality signings for the Knicks in their depth.
But a lot of what-ifs.
Yes.
Maybes,
Yes.
or possibilities, or if he's healthy.
But if
Melo
they're
at
healthy,
the 4, Melo at the 4, Porzingis at the 5. Lots of talk about that. That's when Melo was really good with that veteran team playing the 4 spot.
Things are rarely dull around the Knicks, and that certainly held true this summer when Phil Jackson traded to bring in Derrick Rose in the last year of his deal and signed newcomers Brandon Jennings, Courtney Lee, and Rose's teammate Joakim Noah from Chicago. Plenty of question marks, of course, but also an expectation that this is now at least a playoff team. David Aldridge was in New York Monday, spent time with the Knicks, including D. Rose.
It's unusual to have so many veterans come to one team at once. Usually when there's a lot of turnover, it's young guys. So what do you anticipate the pros and cons of that will be?
I mean, for one thing, having the veterans come to one team or have a whole bunch of veterans come to a team, that can help the younger guys that's on the team. I feel like me and Joakim, and I can only speak off of me and Joakim, we've been in positions where we played in tough games before. We've been in playoffs or the battle of a playoffs experience, and I feel like we can add to the team. We know that this is Melo's team, and coming here, we just have to help him win.
With a guy like Derrick, is going to be, it will benefit me playing with him just because of how good he is in a pick and roll. And as soon as we find that chemistry in between us, I think we can be really good.
For me, not knowing is exciting me right now, you know, of what we can be and how are we going to do it. And just kind of getting our first day of practice under our belt, getting through training camp, enjoying the journey, and being able to create something with a clean slate, you know, sort of to say. But I'm excited about that.
Derrick, there is a civil case pending against you. Today, it was reported that LAPD is still pursuing a criminal case against you. Is there any reaction to that?
None at all. It's out of my control. There's nothing I could do about that. I'll let my team deal with that. But like I always said, and I said it from the beginning, is that I will be proven innocent.
Is it? How do you deal with this being part of what is asked of you now?
You know, I deal with it by having my alone time to myself sometimes. I deal with it by having my son out here. I had him out here for a week straight before actually coming to this, and just been around genuine people, you know. When you go through something like this, you have a lot of people thinking that you're down, but in my case, it was totally opposite. I'm around a new team. I've been going up to the facility every day and just being around guys that love the game. So that's been able, I've been able to take my mind off that by just being around the team.
Do you believe you'll miss any time for any reason?
It's a chance. It's a chance that early October, they keep telling me that I might miss a day or two, but we will have to see once it gets there.
And that civil and criminal case against Rose stems from rape accusations against Rose and a couple of associates. That's a distraction between now and the start of the regular season. But in terms of the basketball, City of New York is excited. You've got some big names on this roster now. What will it add up to on the floor? Is this a playoff team, something better than a playoff team?
Well, I think it's a playoff team if those big names are still healthy and still have their game to go along with those names. Look, to me, it all depends on Derrick Rose health, Joakim Noah health, and Carmelo Anthony. Can he get back to being that dominant player? He's an all-star by default, and I say that not being disrespectful, but Carmelo hadn't had the pieces around him to really make a serious playoff run for a championship. On paper, with the additions that Phil Jackson has brought, if those names stay healthy and they still got the game that we remember, they're a playoff team. But those are a lot of big ifs because you got a lot of guys that they're depending on whose body has not held up on the NBA season thus far.
That, of course, is the big if, but let's assume health moving forward. What does this team look like to you?
Well, I like this team. They have some guys that can obviously Derrick Rose can break down and obviously have some guys where the lane will be open because you have some scorers, you have some defenders, you have some toughness and some winners. But I think ultimately for them is how good is their second unit, how far they can go. I think starting five they can match up with most. But I think in an 82-game season, you got to rely on those next 5 guys. And I'm looking forward to how those guys step up. And Porzingis, I just want to see that from his rookie year, where I thought he had a great rookie year. It's kind of like the stock market. If he can get stronger and go to another level, they'll definitely be in the playoffs and can make some noise.
I feel like the team, Matt, just took some major swings this offseason, and they're not even sure how this is going to work out. I think 2 years from now, this team will be vastly different. They did a 4-year deal with Noah, so they're thinking that he can survive the next few years and find his form again. But the one signing that I really liked was the Brandon Jennings just for a year as a backup to Derrick Rose if things aren't going well. The curious thing that we haven't spoken about is they have a new coach. And Jeff Hornacek came from Phoenix, and it was a 3-happy offense there. I know that Melo's looking forward, and probably Porzingis, to opening up the floor a little bit and not playing within the structure of the triangle offense and getting away from even talking about that. It's probably healthy for the team at this point. But Jeff Hornacek, what type of style is he going to implement with these guys? He knows them well. Is he going to adjust some of his things to help these guys along?
It's going to be fascinating. I mean, one of the more interesting teams in the league when you think about who's come in and what is possible, and then what is possible the other direction if it doesn't go well.